Yes! Yes!
A Lego set is a gift that always clicks. And clicks. Ooh, ooh, and clicks. For kids who love to save the day, choose a Lego set. A gift that always clicks.
Pod Save the King!
Hello and welcome to Pod Save the King again. We have a new royal baby joining the firm. We also have celebrations for Meghan Markle on her 45th birthday. Plenty of pictures on her social media and plenty of news from the Sussex camp. Will Prince Harry get King Charles to join him at the Invictus Games? And what is the latest with his court case against the Daily Mail? Judgments expected in the coming weeks. We'll be discussing all that and more with me, your host, Russell Myers, the royal editor of the Daily Mirror, and Jennifer Newton, the deputy royal editor as well. It's pretty much summer now, isn't it? I mean, we're still baking. We like a weather update. We're still baking in the joys of the August sunshine. We've had a fantastic season here, and the royals have had started their well-earned break, I think, because it has been a busy year. I was sort of looking through everything that's happened. We've had some real highlights with the Princess of Wales in Italy. We have had the King in Bermuda. That was a fantastic tour. There's obviously a lot to look forward to in the autumn. It's normally a busy period for the royals. But let's kick off with some welcome news, because, you know, we often talk about the sort of scandal and infighting of the royal family on this show, but we all love a royal baby. This one with less fanfare, I would say, than other royal births we've covered in the past, Jen. But tell us about Princess Eugenie's baby.
Yeah, so she announced back in May that she was expecting her third child. And yesterday, so Tuesday, she announced that she had given birth to a daughter who is a little sister for their sons, August and Ernest, born in Portugal. That's obviously where they split half of their time between Portugal and London. And the new baby, we don't have a name yet. We're still waiting on a name for this little girl. They've taken the time to decide, which is probably wise when you're a royal, isn't it? And 15th in line to the throne. So not near the top, but
I wonder
certainly
still in the line of succession. It'd be interesting to sort of see down the lines what sort of lives the younger royals lead, because you've sort of got this younger generation, haven't you? You've obviously got Archie and Lilibet and August and Ernest. You've got the Tyndall's children as well, who are very, very much out of the limelight as are their parents. You know, what sort of name do you choose when you've got a royal baby? I mean, I think that, you know, Archie and Lilibet possibly Lilibet, because it was, I suppose it wasn't expected, was it? Because it was the late Queen's nickname. But Archie, not necessarily what you would assume a royal name. You know, we've obviously got Charlotte, George and Louis. They're all, you know, very, very synonymous with members of the royal family of through the ages. August, love the name August. Ernest, solid name.
Yeah.
I suppose, you know, it'd be interesting to see whether they go traditional or a bit sort of left field with their daughter's name.
I think so. I mean, I don't know what they would use as a first name, but I think you could put good money on the fact they'll use Elizabeth somewhere in there as a middle name, because
Very much so, yeah.
Beatrice's two daughters, they have Elizabeth as a surname. And I was looking today, it was something like Anne, Beatrice, Lady Louise, and I think it's Zara. They all have Elizabeth in their names as well. So I think that's a good shout.
A very popular
Yeah.
shout. We did have a statement for Buckingham Palace. Of course, they don't necessarily represent the York sisters, but they do on sort of big occasions like this. Buckingham Palace announced the birth yesterday, a night announcing that the King, of course, Eugenie's uncle, was delighted. It said, Her Royal Highness Princess Eugenie and Mr. Jack Brooksbank are delighted to announce the arrival of their daughter, born on Monday, the 3rd of August, at a hospital in Lisbon, Portugal. And just as you mentioned, that's sort of where they split their time, isn't it? Because of Jack's dealings with the company Costa Terra. He's a development manager in Portugal for their golf resorts, which sort of brings us very nicely into our latest segue, because that is where Meghan and Harry have sort of revealed that they spent some time in Europe. Of course, we did know, as we've discussed previously, that they were in Portugal. We presume that they were staying with Eugenie at some stage, but they have bought a place on the Costa Terra Golf and Ocean Club in Melides in Portugal. I'm told it's called the Hamptons of Portugal. Very, very nice, exclusive residential resort south of Lisbon. Beautiful part of the world. And the reason we know that they were there is because Meghan posted some snapshots of the beach walks and the private dinners and some of the holiday moments they were having, shared on her Instagram. And it got me thinking, does this go against the grain of what Meghan has been talking about, or Meghan and Harry, I suppose, wanting their privacy, trying to create this new life away from the royal family? Because it's very, very at odds with how other members of the royal family celebrate their holidays. Whenever the Queen went up to Balmoral, she certainly didn't go around Europe or go to Caribbean islands like Mustique, like the Prince and Princess of Wales have done in the past. It was very much sort of a working holiday. That was the place where she absolutely loved spending her time. She got to relax there. There was no paparazzi. There were no photographers, really, unless they were invited on a couple of engagements that she would do up there. And the King is sort of carried on that tradition, if you will. He goes up to Birkhall now, but I mean, Birkhall is even more sort of secluded from Balmoral. And he likes spending time out there. We'll just got to come on to him in a minute because we've just got some pictures which have been released of the King staying at the Castle of May, which is he spends the first couple of weeks up there in the summer holidays. And what did you think about this carousel of pictures when we're now seeing where they live? I mean, is that an issue with security? I mean, they've made a big deal out of the security issue in the UK, but pretty much telling people where your house is and where you reside. I mean, I can't imagine there's a lot of sort of armed security milling around a very nice posh golf resort in Portugal.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Obviously, the pictures that Meghan posted, if you can remember, there's the picture of like a front of a restaurant, and I know that you can easily do a Google image search and see, it has been worked out what restaurant that is. She's milling around like a shop that's selling ceramics. Again, you can Google image search and find out where that is. And I think you're right. It does seem at odds, especially. Well, not that we've heard Meghan talk about it, but especially what we've heard Harry talk about, how security is so important to him, how he didn't feel he could bring Meghan and the children to the UK because of the security situation. So to essentially give away your location. And it's also a bit like, people kind of knew this, but they never confirmed it. But now it's like, we're going to confirm. It's like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink thing. It's a little, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I think
Immature in a way. I don't know.
It's strange, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, it's their prerogative, whatever they want to do, of sort of
Yeah.
celebrating these great family moments. Yes, I don't do it. I don't put family pictures on Instagram. I mean, some people do. That's entirely up to them. We haven't seen any pictures of the children. They're still very much guarded about the children's identities. But if you had a holiday home, and what a delightful prospect that would be in the beautiful part of Portugal. But if you did have a holiday home, I would assume that would be a sanctuary, that you go somewhere like that to switch off. People didn't know necessarily where they were. They knew they had a place in Portugal. But now you sort of open the floodgates of telling people where you are. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. The next summer you'd have local photographers turning up there, reporters asking questions. When were they in town? What do they like to do? Where do they like to go and eat? And as you said, they've sort of revealed one of the local restaurants out there. I'm sure the locals are very, very interested in such celebrity guests as they are in this local area, and it may sort of bring business to the local town. But again, it just struck me as very odd that you would do that. I mean, who knows how many times they're going to come to Portugal, whether it's an investment property that they've bought with Jack's advice. One would assume that it's very much, been bought as a property with Jack's advice. He works for the company that runs the golf and ocean club there. But again, just sort of, are they trying to sort of keep in everybody's mind? Is it part of the PR of this sort of family unit? Or are we expecting too much? We don't ever see candid photographs of the royals' holidays like this. I mean, so on some occasions we will see the Prince and Princess of Wales with the videos of them in Norfolk and what have you. But and that Christmas card in Jordan, of course, we had a couple of years ago. But Harry and Meghan are in a different world now, aren't they? They are in a sort of celebrity world. We definitely see celebrity pictures of or pictures of celebrities on holiday, and maybe it's sort of underlining they are in a very, very different scope to members of the royal family.
Yeah, and I think it's as well for Meghan, especially with her brand that she's got, the lifestyle brand, which is very much about family, cooking for my family. I'm a mother. That to share pictures like that, trying to show that they're having a normal-ish family holiday in a place like Portugal, come to the UK, and it's all about having to do kids activities and that sort of thing. She kind of needs to put that out there to stay relevant in that sphere.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what happens next year. Let's not hope the town of Melides is besieged with photographers and reporters for their sake and the local sake. But I'm sure it's a beautiful part of the world. And if they are over here next summer, as they well expected to, then no doubt they'll be popping over there for the just before the Invictus Games. Now, speaking of Meghan, she has turned 45 this week, and she shared once again. She shared sort of a glimpse of how she and her family were spending the day in their beautiful Californian home. We saw a video on Meghan's Instagram page of her dancing around the kitchen. There's sort of balloons. We've seen pictures of her jumping into her pool with helium balloons as well. I mean, this is sort of a slice of normality, isn't it? Most people sort of celebrate with their family in their kitchen, a bit of cake, few balloons out. I mean, this is something that is fairly nice, I thought.
Yeah, I quite liked it as well. And she just wants to celebrate her birthday. And like you say, if she wants to post that on Instagram, fair enough. I did think it was quite funny, the video with her dancing and Harry going, oh dear, because I can definitely relate to that. I've definitely danced around the kitchen and my husband's been like, what the hell are you doing? So I can relate to that, yeah.
It's sort of the reverse of dad dancing, perhaps, which
Yeah, exactly.
we've all been accused of in the past, I'm sure. So happy birthday to Meghan. We've seen quite a lot of them. We've been talking about quite a lot of them quite a lot over the last few weeks. Of course, Harry was here for the conclusion of his court case against the Daily Mail. That didn't go in his favour. Of course, we've got the judgment upcoming. We understand that is going to be around the week of the 17th of August. So we'll be bringing you that when it comes. It's quite an interesting situation that's been put forward, because it could well exceed the money that the claimants have insured against, which was around 16.3 million. I understand the claimants are Prince Harry, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, Elton John, and others. And Associated Newspapers this week said that they confirmed, I think it was just over 34 million pounds on legal fees, lower than the 50 million first reported by their former editor, Paul Dacre. But it's an incredible figure. Now, what the Judge Nicklin, needs to determine is how much of those legal fees will be paid for by the claimants. I mean, the Mail will certainly want all of them paid. I don't think necessarily it's going to happen. One would assume it will be over the amount that they've insured for. I mean, it's been a bruising experience, and some of the documents I was reading over today, which sort of furthered from the judge's comments, which were pretty damning. I mean, it was how many segments were there? There were 93 or 97 claims that they were all disproved, and none of them were held up in court. There was criticism for Harry's legal team. There's criticism for some of the witnesses as well. There was plaudits pretty much across the board for all of the associated journalists and their witnesses. So it has been a very, very bruising experience. I mean, Prince Harry will no doubt be discussing this with his benefactors or whoever is going to foot the bill, because I can't imagine all of them put together have that sort of money. Maybe he does, and Elton John and others, but such an incredible position to be put in. I mean, it seems as after the victories against Mirror Group and News UK, this would have been the real one to have a slam dunk, and Harry has had to sort of walk away from it, and surely now this is the last of his legal battles against the British press.
I think you would think so, yeah. And it has been, I don't think you can underestimate how much of a bruising experience it's been for Harry to have every single claim dismissed in this way and to be facing this bill. I mean, you've got to think maybe he wishes he didn't pursue it in the first place if this is the consequences of it.
Yeah, I saw. I'm not sure he's thinking about that because you remember regret will probably come in the form of millions of pounds, but
Yeah.
I mean, he said right after the case, with a joint statement with Baroness Lawrence, the mother of the murdered teenager Stephen Lawrence. Very, very famous case here in the UK. No doubt people across the world know about it as well. Stephen was murdered in a racist attack in the 90s. And to sort of bring her into the fold as well, I think there was an awful lot of expectation that there would be a great deal of sympathy for her plight, and the Daily Mail, who had carried that crusade against Stephen's murderers, was incredibly laudable, and it seems such a sad way to end such a relationship. Certainly, Stephen's fathers, Neville, have spoken in glowing and supportive terms for the Daily Mail and the people that he's worked with at the newspaper over the years. I mean, Harry's called it a whitewash. I think when you're criticising the judiciary in such a sense, it's very, very dangerous. I mean, like I said at the beginning, perhaps this will be the last legal battle he has, perhaps the last historic legal battle.
Yeah.
No doubt, he's no stranger to litigation, so possibly there will be some more in the future. But in terms of the people I've spoken to close to Harry, they have said very much he wants to move on, draw a line under it. After he lost the case at the Court of Appeal, he did that BBC Newsnight interview. He spoke about wanting reconciliation with his family. And will that come? And that brings us on to our big story this week, which was once again from the Sussex camp. We're very, very Sussex heavy this week. But we revealed that Prince Harry is hoping to convince the King to join him at next year's Invictus Games. And of course, I mean, that would be a huge show of support and reconciliation. Call it what you want. Plenty of olive branches being cast out into the ether by the Duke of Sussex, I'm sure, but it would signal a dramatic rapprochement from their fractured relationship. And this possible public reunion would be at the Birmingham Games, which is taking place next year. Of course, you remember Prince Harry was here just a few weeks ago, taking part in the one-year countdown events. But it gets a little bit complicated because although Harry does want his father there, it is up to the Invictus Games not only to invite the King, but it is also for Buckingham Palace and the King to accept. So, would we expect? Should we stake our colours to the mast? Well, I don't know how we should keep a tally of our bets this year. I don't know how we're doing, but what do we think? Do we think the King would go? 2, do we think there would be some sort of public reunion at the opening or closing ceremony? Or do you even think there is a position where the King could go, but he could just sort of meet some of the competitors taking part in the event, and then Harry would be sort of somewhere else conveniently on that day?
I think from Invictus Games' point of view, would they want to invite the King? Absolutely, because of what his position is as head of the armed forces. And I think it was an Invictus Games event a few years ago when it was in the Netherlands. The King of the Netherlands was there. So it's not uncommon for, a royal to be there other than Prince Harry. So I think they would definitely invite him. Whether he would accept to go or not, well, I think from his...
Got to go, though, and you got to go.
I was going to say, from his point of view, to turn something like that down when he is head of the armed forces, I don't think that's a very good look. So, yeah, I think if he was invited, kind of has to go. Maybe I'm not saying he doesn't want to go, but I think he probably should. Given his role, and whether he would appear in public with Harry, well, there has been some indication that they've had these 2 meetings, both last year at Clarence House and then earlier this year at Highgrove. So maybe it is baby steps. And to be honest, the people that I speak to, just people who aren't even in the royal world, I think they do actually want to see Harry and his dad, appear in public again and put on that show of unity, because I don't think there are actually many people who don't want it to happen. I think they do want it to happen. And I think people still do have a little bit of warmth in their hearts for Harry, no matter what has gone on in the past. And I think it would just be, I think it would be they should probably just put their differences aside and do it.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think that across the board, people are probably sick of this sort of tittle tattle and
Yeah,
fighting, and they find it quite unsavoury. And Harry's doing another interview, talk about reconciliation. I mean, undoubtedly, he said some pretty hurtful things. I imagine he feels fairly aggrieved by how he's been treated by his family, but then that's led him to doing more interviews and a book, and whether he could be forgiven by some members of his family. I don't think his brother certainly, and his
I think
sister-in-law
that's a
will ever
totally
forgive him.
question,
Totally.
isn't
Well,
it?
I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to see them. I mean,
No.
we will come on to the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children at sporting events, which they've done over the last few days. However, um, let's just take it on face value. It's the first time the Invictus Games is coming back here since its inception in 2014. I mean, that is a massive event anyway. Then, as you rightly said, there's royal family and dignitaries of that sort are no strangers to the Invictus Games. Wherever it goes, it attracts sort of big names, not only sort of sports stars and local politicians and world leaders, but also the fact that his son will literally be at an event where he would, let's say Harry didn't even have anything to do with it, and Invictus Games was this great success, you would imagine that the King and possibly the King and Queen would go as well. But my understanding is they would love him to be at the in the opening ceremony or the closing ceremony. They will give him the option. Whether he will then take part in further events, you could imagine Harry taking him to see and see some of the sporting events taking place, and meeting some of the competitors as well. I can't see him on the Smalling with Alison Hammond. I mean,
Well,
that would be a great watch.
that I would watch that. Yeah, if Alison goes over and gives him a massive hug and picks him up and has a got laser tag or whatever it was they were playing together. Yeah.
Well, Alison is one of our favourites for sure, and she's a great broadcaster and a superhuman being. She was the Smalling presenter on breakfast television who was took part in interviewing Harry. Very much stayed to the script. Didn't ask him about anything about his father. Dipped into the fact that his family his children must be very proud of him for what he's created with the Invictus Games. And of course, the last time they spent time together in public was at the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee. I mean, they were probably her funeral. Her
Yeah.
funeral. I mean, they were together for her funeral. Of course, the happier times, the Platinum Jubilee. Harry was here for his father's coronation, but it was here about 24 hours, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
He was in and
And
out. Yeah.
then tagged his Dior suit, or Dior put that message out. I mean, that was sort of the start of things to come, I think. But that would be, 5 years on from appearing in public. I mean, that is an awful long period of time. But a lot of people would suggest that enough time has passed. And as Harry mentioned in his book, his father had pleaded with both him and William to not make my final years a misery. So we'll keep you posted on the latest on all of that. Of course, there is probably just under a year to go to the Invictus Games. Harry is due here in just a few weeks' time. He will no doubt be in London to attend the Well Child Awards that he supported for the last 15 years. Will that provide another opportunity to sort of pop in to the King? The King will no doubt be in London after being in Scotland for his break. And speaking of the King and his break, we've got some pictures through today that will be published in the next few hours. They have been of the very nice pictures, actually, of the King at the Castle of May. What's all this for? It's been released by the King's Foundation.
Yes, it's the King's Foundation. They've released these pictures and shown him planting the King's Rose in the gardens at the Castle of May that have been developed by his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and she was the one that owned the Castle of May. He's kind of taken it on since her death, and he spends the first week in August at the castle every year, I guess, before he goes to Balmoral. And yeah, it's just a nice picture to show him honouring his grandmother, who meant so much to him, and and with his gardens as well, as we know that he loves his gardens and having really nice floral and different arrangements.
Yeah, it's a nice period of time for the royals, bit of downtime before the autumn rush. And of course, the King will be up in Balmoral to welcome the new Prime Minister. No doubt Andy Burnham and his wife will be invited up to Balmoral, as many Prime Ministers have done in the past. We just before we leave you, we just wanted to cover the Waleses attended the Commonwealth Games last weekend. It's always known as the Friendly Games, but I sort of caught the last few minutes of one of the matches they went to see. They went to watch the netball semi-finals between Australia, the world number ones, and Jamaica, who were the silver medalists at the last games. And Jamaica pipped them to the post. It was a pretty tense affair. Australia had a shot to win. Do you ever play netball?
At school, not now, but I did it. I did it.
What was it? So I think there was a foul, and then you get a free shot. It's very different to basketball. You have to stay still.
I can't remember. Yeah. You're not allowed to run with the ball in netball. You know, basketball, you dribble. You're not allowed to run. That's why you have to like pivot around. I think.
So
From what I remember.
the female competitor had a chance to snatch glory from the jaws of defeat, and unfortunately for Australia, she didn't make it. But congratulations to Jamaica for that win. Were fantastic games. We also saw Prince Louis attending his first major sporting event. He hasn't been able to go to Wimbledon with his brother and sister. I mean, he didn't look like he was having a great time, did he? He looked pretty bored from the pictures.
It's a long day. It's a long day for an 8-year-old, I suppose. And if the sport you watch and doesn't really float your boat, you can't just say to your parents, "Can I just leave now?
Can I leave? Yeah.
Or can I go and watch something else?" Yeah.
I'm not sure he's ready for a sort of 5-hour men's Wimbledon
Maybe not
final just yet. But of course, the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children will be heading up to Balmoral in the next few weeks to join the King and Queen. Of course, there will be the usual suspects, I imagine, and the not so usual suspects, no doubt, where the former Prince Andrew, should we say, and the former Duchess of York are personas non gratas for this particular year and possibly many, many years to come. I can't imagine Beatrice and Eugenie will be up there. Eugenie is spending the summer in Portugal with her beautiful new baby daughter. So sort of as we're sort of coming into the summer holidays ourselves, we're going to be bringing you some special episodes where interviews with authors and royal experts and talking about the year that has happened. It sort of gives us it's not necessarily the year, of course, the year's end, but it gives us a nice opportunity to see where the main highlights have been and how the Royals can finish 2026 with a very, very strong position. So please do join us as ever on social media. We'll still be keeping you updated with everything that's been going on in the House of Windsor. And please do join us next time.
Pod save the king!